up, movie crew? Welcome to the latest Let's Watch, and I'm also going to be putting this under Let's Stream. Now, if you saw my short that I posted on Monday, then you know that I recently went to the movies to see a mystery movie. So, going into this, I was only given two things. That the movie was rated R, and that it was about 2.5 hours long. Now, I was going to keep this kind of mysterious throughout and then just do the reveal sometime midway through the video, but it does look like it's already been unveiled that the mystery movie I saw was the greatest beer run ever, starring Zac Efron and Russel Crowe. And it is directed by the same guy who directed The Green Book. I recently did What I Watched, so you already know I loved that movie. So going into this, I honestly did not think it was going to be this movie. In fact, this movie won't even on my radar. I don't have Apple Plus, so I don't keep up with what's on Apple Plus. The Tragedy of Macbeth is the only thing that I've wanted to see on there, and that's because A24 and Coen Brothers. So, once I saw what it was and they presented the concept to us, well, the movie presented the concept to us, I should say, I was in. I do watch quite a few war movies. It's a genre I like, but it's not necessarily a genre I review that often because, let's be honest, war movies can be long, and trying to sit in a theater for 3.5 hours is not always fun. So the thing that really got me on this one that's different from other war movies is that this is fairly lighthearted. Like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely some serious moments in the movie. But for the most part, comedy could actually be billed as one of the subgenres of this movie. So for those that are unfamiliar, the premise is Zac Efron plays the character Chicky Donahue, lives in New York, Vietnam War is going on, and the bartender at the bar that him and his friends frequent said something about, I'd love to just go over there and give everyone that I know a beer just to show my appreciation. And Chicky decides to go through with it. He finds out which areas his friends are staying in and manages to go to Vietnam during a war to give random people he knows a beer. Now, some of these make for some good laughs. There's one part where he shows up, and because he's dressed real nice, someone thinks he's CIA. So they just let him through with no problems. And here's where things start to balance out, because the movie does need to remind you a couple of times, like, hey, this is a war, and this is definitely, at least in American history, unlike any war that America had been in up to that point. So on one end, you've got Chicky meeting up with one of his friends, and they just talk and BS like they hadn't even been a few hours since they last saw each other. Then you've got another person who's just like, you mean to tell me your dumbass came all the way over here just to give me a beer? And then points to an area where there's very much beer. And he ends up seeing firsthand. He goes in the middle of no man's land. He sees one part where it's clear that the people that are there don't want the Americans there. And even while he's trying to be nice to someone, they're terrified of him. So my overall thoughts on the movie were let me just say before this, I can't say this was a movie I was planning on seeing, because when I saw that it was a comedy, drama, war film, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I've got friends and family that are and have been in the military before. So for that alone, for them to say, oh, this is going to be a lighthearted movie, kind of made me not want to see it before I knew anything about it. However, I was already there. I paid my money for the ticket. It's like, all right, I'm going to go in and see this movie. And it ended up being a decent movie. I will say I do understand the negative reviews. Again, we're talking about one of the most traumatic times in U.S. history, and this movie has comedy in it. But at the same time, for those that are unfamiliar, this is actually based on a true story. So keep that in mind. And another thing that was a little uncertain on my end was, of course, the runtime. I always say that. But even though I was a little sore getting up out of the seat because they forgot to start playing the trailers and the newbie stuff beforehand, I was kind of just sitting there until about 10 after 7 before they're like, oh yeah, we got to start playing this movie. So I've been sitting there for a little bit. But I do understand the negative reviews. I also understand why this is going to streaming services. Check your local theaters. This has a limited theatrical run starting September 30th, and it is going to also be streaming on Apple TV+. So not only are we entering horror film season, we are also entering Oscar season. And check all the war movies that have won awards over the years. They are always these drama pieces focusing on one person's heroic journey and trials and tribulations. And this is coming from someone who likes war movies, so don't think I'm hating. But this is not that type of movie. So I can definitely see this one being a little more niche than your average war movie. Performances in the movie, I think everyone did a solid job. They did a good job making sure it was as historically accurate as possible for the time frame. Overall score, I'm going to probably go with a 3 out of 5. Like, it was definitely better than I was expecting. Wasn't what I was expecting as well. But to those that normally watch war movies, you're going to be taken back by this one a little bit. There's really no other way to say it. So, shout out to the Regal, can't believe I'm saying those words, for the mystery movie. This was definitely something that was not on my radar that I ended up enjoying. And shout out to the people behind this movie. Greatest Beer Run Ever is definitely a decent movie and worth checking out. Also want to point out this week there will be 2 more reviews. One for Hocus Pocus 2 and one for Smile. But that's going to do it for this one. If you are new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. You like what you see? Leave a thumbs up. Comment down below. Do you plan to see the greatest beer run ever when it comes to theaters and to Apple Plus TV? Also, were you one of the people that went to the mystery showing and saw that you were watching it? If you were, what were your thoughts? But that's going to do it for this one. Thank you all for watching and tune in next time.